everybody?
Whoa!
Hey. I gotta bring the energy.
Yeah. Oh. Why?
I don't know.
Why you gotta bring the energy?
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
What? Yeah. Be clear.
I think I gotta bring the energy because we're starting something new.
Oh,
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me a little bit more? Because it's not my idea.
I would be happy to. Okay, guys, we're doing something a little bit different today. We're starting a new segment.
We're breaking ground.
We're breaking ground. This is the first episode of a new segment we're very excited to do, and we're calling it Spirit Science.
Spirit science.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it at the same time.
Spirit science.
All right, Alex. You're so late, dude.
You're like the ghost of freaking segments past, bro. You too late on it.
Hey, but first, before we get into Spirit Science Episode 1, which is going to be all about energy, we'll explain a little more later. If you haven't, go check out patreon.com/Bledsoe said so.
Or just BledsoeSaidSo.com.
Yeah.
And Patreon is on there as well.
BledsoeSaidSo.com. The socials, Bledsoe Said So on pretty much every platform.
Mm-hmm. Or
Go
Bledsoe
check us out.
Podcast.
Yeah, go check us out. If you want to go over to the Patreon, we got some cool stuff over there. We got a whole exclusive show with Ryan. It's just him and his candid thoughts.
Yeah, and we are picking up steam with it. Like, at first it was, like, really nerve-wracking because it's a whole new concept. It's just me. And now we're, like, banging out, like, just churning it out every week, having fun. We're loving it. It's a blast.
I love that. I was going to ask if you're having fun.
Oh,
Alex, Are you having fun doing it too?
Dude, it is a lot of fun. And it's really fun to see Ryan get to kind of be a little bit more candid and go off on some things.
Yeah.
But what's been really fun is seeing all of the fresh faces in the Discord
Yeah.
that comes along with, full disclosure, the other show and all of our Patreon perks. So
They are on the same tier. So, if we only have, for now, we have the $5 tier, which is like you get access to the Discord and you get access to the show. So, I mean, it's...
And for those of you who don't know what Discord is, it's basically like this little private community that we have where you can go in there and like share pictures, videos, talk to people. We have different sections.
We hold events in there.
Yeah, we do. We try to do one like every month or two. We do an event. We'll do like a Q&A in there. Sometimes we do movie nights.
Yeah.
Which is like a lot of fun. Sometimes we go in there and play Quiplash, which is great. Shout out Rose Cork. She always wins. She always wins.
That's true. Yeah, it's true.
She always wins Quiplash.
And she's been on the show, so you guys...
Yes, yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's it. Go check us out.
Final call. Merch. It's something that we felt was a necessary help to the show. Like for, it's like if you want to support the show, but have a meaningful thing that you can take home and you can wear and you can represent. We do have some pretty dope shirts.
Yeah.
We have the hats, we have stickers, and we're working on some other things too. So it's BledsoeSaidSo.com. We have our shop on there.
Yeah. We will have some new stuff there soon. We're excited about it. So, let's get into the juice.
Let's juice it.
Okay.
That's a different context.
All right, so check it out. This is kind of the concept for this new segment. Spirit Science, right? It's exactly what it sounds like. We are going to be talking about different scientific concepts that may corroborate or even provide evidence for a lot of spiritual practices, like, a lot of spiritual things. There's this thought, like, I don't know, you guys probably noticed too, but in most like exoteric religions, they kind of butt heads with science, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're kind of mortal enemies. Like,
Well, they also like kind of don't encourage you to look at science.
oh, yeah. And in fact, like sometimes like they're very against it. So this is...
It's also the other way around.
What do you mean?
Typically, like, at least prominently through the 1900s and in the early 2000s, the dogma of science was, there officially is no spiritual dimension. It was both.
That's actually...
We're butting heads with each other.
That's true. Yeah, there are a lot of like big name scientists out there that are like very adamant about like,
if God's real, I need to see the proof.
Exactly.
I get that,
And like kind of discrediting the whole spiritual side of things. On the same coin, there are some really prolific historic, scientists who were really into the spirituality stuff, or at least were kind of orbiting the same, field, like Nikola Tesla.
Isaac Newton.
Yeah, Isaac Newton. Yeah. So Nikola Tesla has this famous quote. You want to?
I actually wrote it down.
Oh, heck yeah.
It was, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Also famously known as 369.
What?
He has this concept that the whole universe is composed by 3, 6, and 9.
Oh,
They're like numerically linked to energy, frequency, and vibration. It's
oh,
called vortex math. He has this whole complex system behind it.
vortex math.
Yes.
I can't
We
even
could talk about that in like a frequency or a vibration episode.
That'd be sick.
We'll do it in the future.
Yeah. So Nikola Tesla is one that didn't, wasn't always quick to kind of cut down spirituality. In fact,
It was the opposite.
it was the opposite for him. And that quote is like super inspiring. It's very related to the stuff that we talk about. So we figured, spirit science, why don't we start off the first few episodes talking about those three fundamentals, those three scientific fundamentals. So the whole object of this segment is going to be to like describe the marriage of science and spirituality.
Yeah, and the idea of this is not new either. It's just new to our show to focus in on this. But the reality is, if you read the works of like Rudolf Steiner or Helena Blavatsky or very prominent Rosicrucian manuscripts, things like that, it's like they call it the spiritual sciences or the occult science. It's a concept that is older than what we're discussing. It's just like, how cool would it be if we focused on trying to bridge that gap for our listeners?
Yeah.
So they don't have to peer through old manuscripts of secret societies.
Yeah, and I'm just generally like, I'm very intrigued by science. Like, I love it. I think it's super cool. And I find myself all the time getting really deep and nitty gritty into like scientific research and feeling like this is spiritual. Like this is definitely spiritual. So let's talk about energy. That's what we're talking about today. What's the first thing that you think of when you hear energy?
Chi.
Okay.
Me
cool.
personally.
Yeah. What about you, Alex? Energy.
Ooh, I don't know. I think of like running fast.
Well,
Okay.
yo. Honestly, you're more on the nose than you think you are. Like, according to the official like scientific definition of energy, it's essentially like your potential for quote unquote work. It's literally like what they call it.
Right. It's not like the output, it's the potential for output.
Exactly. Here's the official definition. This is in the lens of physics. Energy is the quantitative property that is transferred to a body or to a physical system, recognizable in the performance of work and in the form of heat and light. So that's like there are so many different types of energy. That's like in terms of physics. But it's actually like related directly to work and using your bodily energy. But okay, that's like super material science version, right? But when you talk about spirituality, Ryan said chi. So what's your understanding of chi?
It's, when I think of energy, I think of the notion that exactly like Nikola Tesla said, like the energy is constructed. I mean, the universe is constructed of energy, frequency, and vibration.
Yeah.
So I think of it like the force. Like there is a field of infinite intelligent energy that sort of like surrounds and permeates everything in the known universe. It's not necessarily visible to the senses, but it's ever present. It's omnipresent, and it is intrinsically linked to our mental body, our emotional body, our physical body, and our astral or spiritual body.
Yeah, that is, I believe, the spiritual definition of energy. Those four that you just named. What were they again?
The mental body, emotional body, astral, and the physical body.
Right. Yes. That's like when you're.
It's in all planes of reality. Energy.
Exactly. Yeah. But when you're reading like spiritual texts about energy, those are the four things that are always mentioned. That's something that I kept coming across, at least during my research. There's a super important thing that we need to establish as a baseline for energy. And it's you guys have, I'm sure you've heard this, but the law of conservation of energy. states that energy can be converted in form, but not created or destroyed. So energy cannot be created or destroyed, only converted. That's
or transformed in another way of
yeah,
describing
yeah. So I mean
Changed.
that's like a hard, fast law in terms of science. So the first thing that pops into my head when you talk about that specific statement, the law of conservation of energy, is so in the beginning of time, there had to be energy. If it can't be created or destroyed, then it had to have always been there, right?
Yeah, or like,
In some form.
yeah. I was thinking more like also at whatever point this universe was created or manifested, all of the existing energy was brought into being simultaneously.
Right.
All
yes,
of it.
yes. Which would be like, I guess we would kind of describe that as the beginning of time.
Yeah.
I guess like in our silly rudimentary brains or whatever, that would be like the beginning of time. But yeah, so according to our understanding of the history of the universe, the energy has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
And what else do we know about the world that we live in? It's filled with energy. Most of, actually, like, yeah, I would say the vast majority of life on the planet. There are some exceptions, but I mean, we have like literal electrical energy flowing through our bodies. And it's I didn't even know this until I started researching for this, but the electrical currents that flow through our bodies are generated by our brain.
It's funny because we're actually electrical beings.
Yeah, for sure.
The
And-
thoughts in your brain are transmitted with electrical impulses between the synaptic gaps in your neurons. Even your thoughts are just little electrical little zaps.
Okay, yeah, which is incredible because that means that if it can be observed, that means that it is giving off some form of energy.
Mm-hmm.
That energy would be in the form of, I believe, radio waves.
I don't know.
It's like a form. There are multiple forms of radio waves, but that's the crazy thing. Like thought can actually be measured. Can be like it actually gives off energy.
We saw that in some sort of History Channel episode.
I was gonna bring it back to that at some point, but you beat me there.
Well, elaborate. Why don't you?
Well, somebody that I know got their brain hooked up to something that measures brain activity
Yeah.
and is, I mean, paraphrasing a little bit, basically a superhero or like Buddhist.
Well, quit beating
master.
around the bush, dude. Who is it? Who is it?
Yeah.
It's my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put a EEG cap on him, and they in their words, I mean, we had no clue that it was going to go down this way. Dad was just like, sure, I'll do whatever experiment you want. We didn't know what the data would say, and they were able to verify that in their words, he had an energetic connection in his brain, and then the way that it behaved, and with the phenomenon when they appeared in his vicinity, there was an energetic connection. Crazy stuff.
So, bruh, listen, this is crazy. I didn't realize this, but maybe that's just because I'm dumb. Radio waves and brain waves are types of energy that travel at the speed of light from the human body.
Wow.
But that also goes hand in hand with that. The way that your brain communicates with the majority of your body is by sending electrical signals through it. But that's literally in the form of light. It's actually in the form of light. And down to the cellular level, there's light present in like basically everything in existence.
Right.
Which is, of course, one of the most pure forms of energy. So, I mean, it's fundamental from the top to the bottom. Energy is everywhere. Now, the really intriguing thing to me, and this is something I want to kind of like dig into and get y'all's thoughts on. You know, there's like when you start getting into like the realm of the metaphysical and like the spiritual, it's like some people like to talk a lot about like auras and energies and like it's real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Like, dude, your energy, bro, like your aura's off, dude. Like that's typically what you're hearing from a lot of people. But they ain't wrong.
They're not.
They ain't wrong. They're really onto something. And I had an experience kind of relating to that I want to talk about at some point. But that's energy. Like it's not just, some word that we use to describe the way that somebody else is acting. Like I believe that we don't only have energy within our bodies, but we have energy fields, multiple, that surround our bodies as well. Because like energy permeates mass.
Mm-hmm.
It permeates through mass. And so you think it's just going to stay contained inside your body? No, it's not going to stay and your body is constantly, like thousands of times a second, a fraction of a second, sending signals. Each one of those signals is either chemical energy, kinetic energy, or electric energy. And that stuff's not just staying inside your body. It's actually creating a field around you that a lot of people call your aura. And it's in it's in multiple different layers. That, like you were saying earlier, the astral body, there's the emotional body, the mental body. So actually, yeah, I'm gonna tell that story. I won't say who it was. But I recently went to visit some family, and this I may have told this on the show already, but it's very pertinent to this topic.
We have new listeners.
Did you?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. If I did, it's been a little bit. But anyway, I took a trip to visit some family, and this is somebody who's been in my family. Like they're not blood related to me, but I've known them literally since I was born.
You're related through marriage.
Yes. Yeah. And so we went to visit. My entire life, I never knew this person's spiritual background, or all I knew was like, we go to the Christian church, and that my parents always told me like, yeah, they're kind of weird.
They go to the weird church.
They go to the creepy. They said they go to the weird church. They got a little statue of Yoda in there that they pray to. Which was completely bogus, by the way. But I just learned in my adult life that weird church, quote unquote, it's like mystical,
it's a
esoteric,
metaphysical
occult. Yeah, it's one of those I forget what
it's like a Unity Life Church or something.
I think that's exactly what it is.
It's like a metaphysical church group.
Yeah, and oh yeah, that was the other thing. I went to visit, and when I got there, I started looking around on the bookshelves. And it was all like Terrence McKenna, Ram Dass, like I was, they even like The Alchemist, the Kabbalah or the Kabbalion. I found a copy of the Kabbalion. So I was like, that was my first sign. But then we went to a crystal shop, and just in the middle of the crystal shop, this person was like, hey, close your eyes. And they started doing this thing where they sensed the energy fields around my body. It was so precise to the point that when they would tell me they're about to get to another layer of my energy body, they'd be like, you might experience this, like you might see something in your head or whatever. And like I think I told you, like I had like borderline DMT like visuals.
Yeah.
Just for like a split second. And that was literally just from this person reading my energy fields. So all of that is to say, I want to get y'all's take on like the whole aura thing, like the whole energy permeate.
A moment ago, I was trying to look into this. It's a little hard on the spot when you're like on the episode and you're trying to find something in a pinch. Mm-hmm. But for the life of me, I don't know why I didn't write this down in preparation for the episode. But I did stumble on it in my research in the last couple of days. But there's an institute called the Heart Math Institute. Are you guys familiar with this?
No.
They basically have been seeking to verify that there is an energy field around the heart, and they do experiments where it's indicating that there is an auric field around people, and they found through their experimentation that depending on your mental state, it changes the energy readings of your actual heart.
Huh?
Like, happy thoughts, there's different energy in your actual heart.
No.
It's called the Heart Math Institute. It's hard to find the data, right now in a pinch without being in a rush, but
what's up?
You know what that makes me think of, like right off the bat?
What?
Is Johnny Cash?
Uh-huh.
Died died of a broken heart.
That's a real thing. Like,
Yeah.
I
What happened to Padme?
Don't be talking about my girl like
Are you
that.
doing okay with that, Alex, by the
No,
way?
I'm not.
You're not?
No.
You know what Alex said to me earlier?
What?
He's like, bro, I found an Anakin costume on Etsy. He said, I'm going to be Anakin this year for Halloween.
His
gotta
phone
get a-
screen is Anakin now. Did you see it?
No way.
Yeah.
That's
He's
amazing.
even got the hair.
Yo, okay. So what you just said, it reminded me of something. Think about this. You know, you said happy thoughts send signals to your heart that changes the energy reading. Well, think about this. Happy thoughts versus unhappy thoughts.
Right.
Your brain is going to literally actually send different chemical signals throughout your body based on the thoughts that you have.
Well, we already know that like every thought sends an electrical energetic impulse. I mean, it's literally you're willing energy into manifestation just by even having thoughts.
Okay, yes, that's what we're talking about. That alone, that sounds like magic.
Right.
It sounds like we are in an intelligently designed vessel where we can actually change our bodies with our thoughts. It's like it was designed that way. Like we're sending different chemicals through our bodies depending on our thoughts.
Well, if you think about it, like when you're happy, you
Uh-huh.
feel it everywhere. When you're anxious, you feel it in your chest. When you
Yeah.
have a pit in your when you're feeling uneasy, you feel it in your stomach.
Yeah.
When you feel all of these different feelings and emotions in different parts of your body.
You know, apparently there's like a strip of nerves in your stomach that are the same like emotional receptors that are in your heart.
Well, you also know that 95% of the body's serotonin is made in the gut.
Huh?
That's a different subject entirely, but that's why, good diet is important.
What?
You are what you eat.
It's that mind to gut connection. It's like an emerging field that is, it's kind of like not accepted or it's not that it's not accepted. It's not so commonly known that like, yeah, I mean, we kind of like are what we eat. Like we eat a lot of junk, we'll be unhappy, we'll be unhealthy. The better we eat, the better we feel, the better we are. But that's a different subject. But no, I didn't know that about the strip of nerves thing in the gut.
It's so
That's cool.
weird. That means like you can literally actually feel some emotions in your stomach. That's
Right.
why like what Alex said. Like think about like when your stomach drops. You know that feeling?
Yeah.
Like that's
Or
like,
when you got butterflies
yes,
in general.
Yes. Were you about to?
Yeah, the Heart Math Institute. I was able to find
Yeah.
the heart
Cool.
brain connection.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
It is not as commonly known that the heart actually sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. Actually, this is not even heart math. This is just like new findings in the last decade or so. They've actually discovered that there are about 80,000 neurons in the heart.
80,000
Now,
neurons.
respectively, that's not a lot.
No, but
We're talking there's trillions in the brain.
But there's neurons.
It thinks.
Yes,
In a limited capacity, it
bro.
thinks.
That's
The heart feels.
That's crazy.
And it sends signals to the brain. So the Heart Math Institute, these heart signals have a significant effect on brain function, influencing emotional processing as well as higher cognitive faculties such as attention, perception, memory, and problem solving. In other words, not only does the heart respond to the brain, but the brain continuously responds to the heart. The effect of heart activity on brain function has been researched extensively over the last 40 years. Let me skip forward a little bit. The Heart Math Institute research has demonstrated that different patterns of heart activity, which accompany different emotional states, have distinct effects on cognitive and emotional function. During stress and negative emotions, when the heart rhythm pattern, it's erratic, it's disordered.
Yeah.
They're talking about like energy patterns,
Yeah.
The corresponding pattern of neural signals traveling from the heart to the brain inhibit higher cognitive functions, limiting our ability to think more clearly, remember, learn, reason, make effective decisions.
Hey, you know what that sounds like? Low vibrational fear.
Yeah.
You know how like fear puts
It
you in a
fogs our faculties of our mind. In contrast, the more ordered and stable pattern of the heart's input to the brain during positive emotional states has the opposite effect. It facilitates higher cognitive function and reinforces positive feelings and emotional stability. And then check this out.
Okay. Also, real quick, that just puts the nail in the coffin of the importance of mental health right there. Like
For sure.
you can't actually function like as a human if you're not taking care of yourself.
Right.
Like the scientific proof.
Just
Sorry.
like bare minimum. Like, yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to seek peace.
You have to
joy.
and protect your peace.
Yeah.
You, I believe, are the first person that I ever heard say that, and like I immediately put that one right in my little heart.
That's
bookshelf.
interesting. I never remembered saying that.
I ever in your life?
Not in that sense. That like I don't know.
said
I just always hear you say it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of those things we don't know which one's.
We
the
remember
first.
what other people say more than what we say.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, but so this naturally occurring beat to beat variation in the heart. Oh wait, let me skip back one. Scientists and physicians know that. Wait, let me skip one more. The heart at rest was once thought to operate much like a metronome, faithfully beating at a regular, steady rhythm. Scientists and physicians now know, however, that this is not true. Rather than being a monotonously regular, the rhythm of a healthy heart, even under resting conditions, is actually irregular.
Okay.
With the time interval being between consecutive heartbeats constantly changing. This is a naturally occurring beat-to-beat variation called heart rate variability. So what the Heart Math Institute was, they were measuring these heart rate variabilities, like with machines. You know?
Yeah.
And there was a graph, I had just seen it, but anyway, people can look more. There's other stuff we want to cover, but the point is, like, there is emerging evidence that what you're saying is true.
And that reminds me a lot of what we just talked to with what we talked about with
Larry?
Yes, Larry Burke.
Yeah.
Larry Burke. That
He
study.
brought them up.
Oh, really?
Heart Math, yeah.
Oh,
I knew it
was
sounded
that
familiar.
what was that the study that he was talking about where they brought in healers and they
That
what
was
did they do?
Ryan
In the dark
Institute.
room.
That's the Ryan Institute.
That's right. With the dark room,
Yeah.
and they observed the amount of photons that came off of them. Right? It was that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That blew my mind.
And those are related, when you
they're
think
absolutely
about it.
related. Think about that example. If you guys haven't seen the episode we did with Larry Burke,
Dr. Larry Burke, yeah.
That was
Banger.
It was a banger. It was amazing.
Yeah.
That study that he told us about blew my mind. They basically they brought in these healers, and they were, people who are like energy healers or whatever. They brought these people in, put them in a dark room, and observed the photons that coming off of their body when they weren't engaged in like that healing process, and then when they were, and the photons when they were like infinitely higher.
Also, I think like Qigong type practitioners too, they did it as well. Like Qigong, like energy manipulation and like Zen meditation type practices.
Oh,
As opposed to like just like faith-based healing. Like they did a wide variety of subjects.
That also reminds me of this other crazy. Oh, well, before we move on from that, like that's a tangible example of
Energy.
things happening outside of your body coming from your mental state.
Mm-hmm.
You are quite literally manifesting energy into the world outside of your body.
Right. As within, so without.
It's crazy. Were you about to say something?
Yeah, so it's like, obviously people carry energy, and you can feel that talking to people, being with people. But listening to your story, Nick, with that the
Your
person
relative.
in your life
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was putting their hand in your energy field.
Yeah.
And you had that experience for a brief moment of these visuals.
Yeah.
And that makes me think of like walking through a crowded room or sitting just as close as you guys are sitting, your energy fields are touching.
Oh,
But
yeah. They absolutely are.
I got
They
a
are.
thought to share with you on
And
that.
I'm thinking, like, as you pass people on the street and as you walk by and have these casual exchanges, not even physically touching, just energy fields
proximity.
touching,
Yeah.
what is happening subconsciously that you're not perceiving because you're not, thinking about that? But what is happening subconsciously when you're passing through these energy fields?
Oh, dude. Way more, I think, is happening than we realize.
Yeah.
I mean, it might sound a little conspiratorial or whatever, but it's like, I do feel like there is something going on with humans, current, that we're not as sensitive to energy, or we're not as like connected with it. Maybe
We're not as aware of it.
Yeah, we're not aware of it. We don't have a relationship with that kind of stuff, and so maybe it's dulled our perception of that kind of stuff. I don't know, but in terms of subconsciously, that's where the real stuff happens. I feel like your you're probably constantly being in some subtle way influenced by the energies around you subconsciously.
Absolutely, we are.
I'm gonna go full conspiracy and just say that.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
I believe that there's a group of people making changes to our lifestyle through media and diet that is making it harder for us to have access to these feelings, to this kind of information and about ourselves. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Like whether it's for the express purpose of shutting that spiritual thing down or
Yes.
not,
Yeah.
it's like it's either that or they just want to break us down physically or both. But I mean, I've been paying a lot of attention to like nutrition facts and stuff lately, and they really do just be taking like vital minerals and vitamins out of our food.
Yeah,
Yes.
and water even.
Oh, that's
And
the big thing that I've
Don't
been
get me
noticing.
started on the fluoride.
Oh my God.
This is the energy episode, not
Yeah.
the
Not
I
the
know,
water
I'm not,
episode.
I'm not
Yeah.
going. I'm not going any further.
But I will say, like, America's one of the only countries that like has almost all purified water. Most of our water is just all like your tap water, it's purified.
right.
Like other countries, like, I don't know if you know, but you went to Germany, like all of their tap water, like the water that comes out of the faucet is all spring water.
I didn't know that.
It's all like from an ancient spring.
Because
like,
they drink,
it's-
sparkling water, so
Right,
they don't
right.
drink out of the tap.
Right.
You can taste it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you
I've
can.
never drank out of the faucet in Germany. to
Our
be
water
honest.
tastes like chlorine.
It does. I mean, they took all the good stuff out of it. Anyway, we get back to energy.
I had a thought.
Yeah.
What you were just saying about how, or maybe it was you that said it. I don't even remember now. About just a minute ago when you were talking about being around people and being in their energy field. That night that your family came over,
Oh yeah.
to my parents' house where we all skywatched together and had just profound sightings, and we ended up doing an episode on it and all that. I was laying in bed either that night or the next night, and I was just thinking out of the box. Like, I mean, I'm not really open about this all the time,
hmm
but with the documentary coming out and like literally like with science being on our side, I don't feel as cautious or hesitant anymore about kind of like letting my true colors show a little bit. But like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like I'll sit there and like meditate or lay down or whatever, and I just have the strangest like visually rich thoughts, like imagery coming to my mind about things. Like a lot of things I understand in my mind through imagery, like just seeing things.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. It's a sensation, and I just feel like I'm able to just picture things, and I could just feel information from it. And what I felt from that experience was your family being around, and our families all being out there together and all having the orbs and our energy being so high. It's funny because it's 33 minutes in as I'm saying this, and then our all of our vibrations reaching such a high state of being together that the phenomenon was like beaming energy into us, and
Oh, dude, I
Like-
I can tell you for a 100% fact that was the only thing going through my mind when I was out there seeing all that stuff, seeing the orbs and like seeing them so close to me. The only thing that I could think is like if in my mind it felt like I was standing in like an energy field,
Yeah.
like a potent energy field.
yes,
And like it's weird to say this, but that's almost why like I didn't have much of a reaction when I saw the orbs. I mean, I was like, whoa. And like I went and walked closer to try to get a better look. But I wasn't like freaked out. I wasn't like caught off guard. None of that, because like it made sense to me. It looked like a pop of electricity in multiple spots. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like I feel like we are standing in some kind of potent, strong energy field. So what you're saying, you think that like because all of us were there together, it was like the energy was so high that
it was like flowing through all of us, like changing us, like obviously from the phenomenon too, but like I just felt that it was like our vibration was most certainly being raised energetically. But yeah, I just couldn't stop thinking about that laying in bed, like, whoa, like that was a pretty freaking life-changing moment for all of us when you think about it.
oh no, it absolutely was. The thing that you were just saying about the when you meditate and you get like these really visual like
Images.
images and stuff like that. I almost wonder if it is some form of synesthesia.
I've always felt like I had that.
Really?
I just don't talk about it. But like ever since I was a little kid, like in kindergarten, learning about like the days of the weeks and the months and letters, I always associated colors with things when I feel them in my mind.
Really? So like okay, like you see a specific thing and it triggers a specific color.
Yeah, or like feelings. Yeah.
Is it
What color am I?
I mean, I didn't say people. I said
pure
like
white?
things.
Pure white. I mean, look at your shirt.
I mean, if I had to say yours would probably be brown, man. There's a dookie. I felt bad about saying it.
Not on the intelligent science episode, bro.
We're still Bledsoe said so.
Yeah, I know. And
No,
also,
I'm just kidding, man.
Let's be very clear. We're not doing these to try to be intelligent or sound intelligent. I think there's seriously a marriage
People
between.
could benefit from. You know why we're doing this is because. Just like what if me and Jenny were out on the beach one night and we were looking at the stars, sky watching, seeing orbs, and she was like, "Oh, I was saying to her like, man, there's some things I really want to talk about on Bledsoe Said So, but I'm too scared. Like I'm too scared that people are going to say we're crazy or
Right.
whatever." This was in the beginning when every single episode I was nervous to even start and then nervous about how it would be received. And she was just like, "Well, I mean, dude, like all you have to do is say what if, and you could say literally anything." And then like last week or the week before, whenever we had this conversation, we're all sitting here chilling, and Jenny right in front of us. No, it was the night before y'all came.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Ryan, I feel like, when we first got together, like a lot of this stuff was overwhelming, but when you started showing me some like scientific data for things is when I started to really understand it." And we just started talking about it. Like, that's not something we've really focused on.
Yeah, no, we haven't. And also, I if I'm being perfectly honest, same for me. The same was for me. That, I trust science. I do. There are people infinitely smarter than me that have devoted their lives to figuring out how the world works, and like for the most part, I trust, but I do like go out and seek like peer-reviewed articles, and like I don't just he's a scientist, he knows what he's talking about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I do my due diligence.
Just like there's quack preachers, there's quack scientists.
Exactly.
There's also popular scientists that
I like to find some credible scientists and then just like, that's my guy. You know what I'm saying?
I've always kind of worked in the form of what's it called? Inductive reasoning. Or maybe I have it backwards, not deductive, but inductive, where you have this big idea or this big hypothesis in your mind that you're trying to explore, and you're just like gathering all of these data sets to paint the picture like Gestalt. Like, it's like I'm not the kind of person that needs the proof to believe something. It's like I believe this already.
Yeah.
Let me find as many pieces of corroboration that I can to support this. It's like
that's kind of how it is for me. It's not necessarily like I need to see the science before I believe it, but I see
a lot of people are like that though.
For sure. But no, I feel the same way. Like often I'll be, I say all the time, I trust my intuition on a lot of stuff like this, but I still double check.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so I'll hear about like a new metaphysical concept that I haven't heard about, or some new practice or something, and my intuition usually tells me if I feel like it's like legit or some hokey stuff or whatever. But either way, I go and research about it, and I look for like corroborated data and stuff like that to support, the way that I feel about it. The reason that I brought up the synesthesia thing, I want to talk about another study that was done. This was a really cool one, and it was very similar to the what Larry Burke was talking about. This was a study conducted at the University of Grenada.
Ooh.
Yeah. They basically did it was a very, very similar study. They were studying spiritual energy, auras, and specifically synesthesia.
Cool.
Because they had done studies on synesthetic people before. They had done studies on healers and like other spiritual, figures before, or people engaging in spiritual, practices. And they found similarities, which that's very interesting to me first off the bat, because when I first heard about synesthesia, I was like, that's like magic. That's like a superpower. You know what I mean? I was like, that doesn't seem normal to me. That seems like spiritual.
Right.
So the University of Grenada, they did these. It was like a similar study, and they found a lot of similarities. So then this study, they brought them together. They brought synesthetic people, spiritual people. Their studies found that in the case of proven successful energy healers, the vast majority of them are synesthetic, and a large portion of them influence their measurable body energy through what these scientists described as a placebo-like effect.
Honestly, man,
Bro,
placebo is a slippery slope to magic.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It is. When I hear placebo-like effect, that's just belief.
Yeah, literally.
That's just belief. So they brought these people in and they measured their energy. It was actual measurable energy, and the shifts were huge, but they were comparable between just people who were not doing spiritual practices but were synesthetic, and then spiritual practice.
So what exactly is the definition of like synesthesia?
It's basically just when two feelings or two thought processes trigger one another. So it's actually a lot more broad than a lot of people realize. Like, I'd say the most common form of it seems to be the whole like, oh, I hear this, I think of this color, or some people like hear music and they see it in color or whatever. But it's actually it's deeper than that. Like feelings, like specific feelings about, like for instance, you remember, was it last night where we were showing each other like cringy old like PlayStation games? Was that last
Nintendo
night?
64?
Yeah. Which actually, that one that you showed me was pretty sick. I want to try that. What was it called?
I think it's like Brave Fencer Musashi or something.
Yeah. It looked really
It's
cool.
like one of the first games I ever played.
But when you think, answer this as honestly as you can. When you think of that game, do you have a specific nostalgic feeling that's associated to that game?
Yeah. I think of being 4 years old or 3 years old, whenever, and sitting there playing the game and thinking. I just remember the feelings I had when playing it.
Okay, that
almost 30 years ago.
And when you think about it, it's like the same feeling today.
I mean, I can remember how it felt.
That's a form of synesthesia.
You know how I do that thing all the time where, like, we all have a good alignment and a bad alignment. We all can be depressed and be in a negative version of ourselves and not always be so good with our abilities. But you know how I have that thing. It's no secret where, like, I say things that are, like, hyper visual.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, you do that.
It's because I see things in my mind hyper visual.
Do you really? Do you know that chart to see if you have aphantasia?
The Apple chart?
Yes, the Apple. You haven't seen that? That's how I found out I had aphantasia, which is so crazy. Quick update on that. I've been like meditating and things recently and started doing theta tapes and stuff. I'm like starting to see things in my mind now.
Interesting.
Yeah. But there's a chart where you could see like.
No, I've never done that.
So you see things in your mind like hyper vividly.
Yeah, like not like an artist. Like I don't have good spatial intellect. I can't like draw. I wouldn't be good at architecture or drawing or I'm not skilled in that capacity, but I'm just, from like from a
I think you're synesthetic, dude.
That's
what it sounds
like, dude, ever since I was 5 years old, being in kindergarten, learning the days of the week, I just remember. This has never changed throughout my entire life. I always just remembered as a little boy, you learn the days of the weeks, you learn certain things, and I just remember thinking like, Monday's blue, Tuesday is red, Wednesday is yellow.
Do you still feel like those days correspond to the same?
I'm telling you what I've thought since kindergarten.
Oh, those are the exact.
Like Thursday is purple.
Really?
Friday is orange. Saturday and Sunday also are yellow. These are thoughts that I would have as a little kid. I would just feel these colors to things, like nobody told me. I just always, I feel things in that way, like imagery with things,
What is it about Wednesday that makes you think of the weekend?
I mean, it's not that I think of the weekend. It's just the way that I feel things. It's funny because, Wednesday is Wotan's day, which is Wotan, Odin's day, which he's, represented by the color citrine. Maybe no connection there, but
I'm not trying to be.
That's wild.
I'm not
that's
trying to
wild.
pick at you.
That's pretty wild.
I don't know. That's how I always thought about things since when I was a kid,
Well, also synesthesia appears to be something that runs in the family, and your sister has it.
Definitely.
Shout out Emmy.
She's
expressed on multiple occasions that
Chris Jr., dude, it's so serious with him. I remember when he was a little kid, and little kids cut their fingers. They don't know blade safety. It happens all the time. And Junior was the kind of kid where he had an extreme tactile aversion. Like he can't touch certain fabrics, like literally, like period.
Ooh.
And he can't touch felt, certain types of paper, especially if it's dry. I can be like that sometimes.
Really?
And with Chris, it was like when he would cut his finger, all he could taste in his mouth was metal. He just could taste metal.
That sounds like some sort of synesthetic connection. I'd like to talk to Chris about that. I remember I've asked Jeremy before if he felt like he was synesthetic, because at some point a while back I was looking into it, and I was like, okay, Emily has it. I wonder if any of the other kids have it, but I want to talk to Chris Jr. about that specifically. Okay. One of my last notes, and then I want you to get to some
I've
of
got
yours.
a few things to cover.
I want you to get to yours. I just want to bring it back to one of the first things that we said, which is, the conservation of energy, that law. Picture this. There's a big old ball of consciousness or energy at the beginning of time. Like we said, it had to have always existed. Well, a really cool way that you can look at how we all got here is that big ball of like always existing energy was breaking off pieces of itself and sending them flinging across the universe. And here we are.
Literally.
It's a strange out of the box kind of thing. But does that not sound like God? Does that not sound like the definition of God? Like we were just talking about in the last episode, like the body of God being the planets, the cosmos itself. It's like, that's not so out of the box when you think about it like that. When you think about it, a lot of times when you think about these spiritual concepts from the point of view of science, they make more sense.
Yes.
That's the whole point of us doing this. They make more sense.
Right.
So that's one of the ways that I like to think about quote unquote God.
Here's another cool quote from Nikola Tesla. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries of existence.
So, oh my God.
Sometime, I don't know when Einstein died. I just don't know that much about Einstein, about as much as the next person,
Yeah.
And I do know that when Einstein was being interviewed back then, the interviewer said something to the effect of, how does it feel to be the smartest person alive? He's like, well, you'd have to ask Nikola Tesla. Like he even Einstein was like, Nikola Tesla's the G, like.
Oh, I mean, he was tapped into.
His research was so advanced that it was seized by the FBI.
Yeah,
like he was thrown in house arrest for the rest of his life. Dude, he had like levitation devices.
Didn't they do that to freaking Leonardo?
Galileo.
Galileo.
Yeah.
Yes, Galileo.
Nikola Tesla he is the original archetype of the mad scientist.
Yeah, I mean,
because people thought he was crazy.
Well, he did some wild stuff.
Like he threatened that he could like destroy cities with his earthquake machine, and he had fringe science, dude.
For sure.
In like 1905, 1910, something like that, he had wireless communication between his factories. He just had technology that should not have existed in his time.
Huh?
It's true.
That's absurd,
dude, his stuff was like literally seized by the FBI, and he was just locked away for the rest of his life. He went crazy by himself, living in his apartment, basically prisoner by the government, and just kind of died alone and poor.
Oh my God. I saw this kid on TikTok that recreated Tesla coil and is doing experiments and stuff.
We didn't even talk about that.
What, the Tesla coil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
infinite energy everywhere. He proved it.
Literally, it's like not.
And they're like, how do we make money on this?
Oh, yeah.
You don't. Slam in the slammer.
Yeah, you don't. It's free. It should be free. We can
gotta
get it.
figure out how to make money on this.
It's just too good.
It's just too good. Yeah, you stick a pole in the ground and infinite energy.
Yeah.
It's like
And
30
you just stick
feet.
poles all around the world. And
Yeah.
They would shoot. They would collect the energy.
Or you build pyramids.
Huh?
Huh?
Did you say how do you build
I
pyramids?
said, or you build pyramids.
Oh, do you think that's what they were doing?
I think
Tesla
so.
coils?
I think they were some sort of precursor to that.
Well, what
Free energy.
that made the freaking bricks levitate?
Sure.
No. Y'all, he came in at a moment when you were. He's saying that the pyramids were probably some sort of energy device. Nothing to do with the Tesla coils.
Oh.
Correct. Thanks,
Oh,
Ryan.
no. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's being talked about in the past like year of people like inspecting the pyramids, and they're finding out that like there was water around the pyramids at one point and around the Sphinx at one point, and it was like very suddenly the water was gone. And then another thing that they found out is that the layouts of the pyramids are like hyper efficient for energy to be able to flow through and even potentially like conduct through the spire in the middle.
We
Yeah,
talked
I
about
saw something that the tip was gold. The top.
Oh,
the very tip top.
yeah.
or
was
like
gold.
would have used to be. Yeah.
Was gold, and which would make sense why it's not there, because like that would have been the first thing to go.
We talked about this on the show, but there's like no soot on the inside of the pyramid.
Oh, yeah,
They have
yeah.
lights in there. They have pictures of light bulbs on the hieroglyphs. But a cool theory, has nothing to do with energy. But I don't know how we could prove this. But there's a belief that the pyramids are actually not just like, flat base, but like actually equally under the sand as well.
Like in what is this called?
Like I guess you could call it like
diamond?
a diamond or like a
Yeah,
would
yeah,
that be
yeah.
like a icosahedron?
Oh, dude, like freaking from Da Vinci Code. Remember in Da Vinci Code?
Yeah,
The
like as above, so below.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if it's true, but
How do we? Yo, that's unreal.
Well, you can't build anything on
Nope.
sand, really.
icosahedron.
So
Is it a
there's got to
tetrahedron?
be some sort of foundation.
I think it's a tetrahedron.
That's so wild, dude. I can't believe that.
Nope, tetrahedron is the flat base. I don't know the geometric shape.
Oh, yo, what I was gonna say about that kid that recreated the Tesla coil, he has like discovered he can send near limitless energy from one side of the planet to the other with these coils. He's like a hyper intelligent, like savant level, like genius, this kid. And he fully cracked wireless energy. Like this kid, honestly,
like Nikola Tesla did.
this kid might want to watch out.
Good luck, kid.
Yeah. This kid might want to.
There
watch
was a
out.
nickname for Nikola Tesla back in the day. I can't remember it off. I need to look it up, but they called him a wizard.
Well, I mean,
The wizard of
there's-
electricity,
There's that one quote that like
the master of lightning.
the master of lightning.
Yeah, they called him a wizard.
That sounds like a Metallica song.
That's
Yeah, it does,
hardcore.
I had some stuff I wanted to cover.
Yeah, let's go.
Before we wrap up.
Let's go.
So y'all know Colonel John Alexander, the guy who was on the documentary with Dad. He in real life, he's the guy on behalf of the United States government studied the paranormal and the fringe for like 50 years, and that's how he ended up at our house, studying us. And anyway, so he and I have had some chats about this. The reality behind the men who stare at goats in the movie, it's like they stare at it and they're like, and then it just like dies.
Yeah.
The reality is they had a master Qigong practitioner, which is, you think like Tai Chi or like, like ancient.
Dealing with chi.
Yes, Qigong.
Like your
like
inner-
Kung Fu, Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Qi,
Yeah.
Qi skills or Qi art or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Qigong. And the reality of why the goat died was because he meditated, did Qigong, and then he focused the energy into his fingertips and did an ancient martial arts technique called Dim Mak, which is the death touch. And he sent energy through the goat from his fingertips. And like John, actually, he has a degree, he has a PhD in thanatology from, I think it's thanatology,
What
which
is
is like,
that?
it's like the study of death.
Whoa.
Like, dude, he's literally like studied like life after death and consciousness and the fringe beyond the
like
veil.
Thanatos.
Yeah, like
that's
thanatology.
Wild.
And like he actually like reviewed personally. Like, he was on Project Stargate. The George Clooney character is like based on him. And Joe McMoneagle. It's an amalgam. But he was the one who reviewed the necropsy, and he told me it was like a ballistic object. It was no different than like the damage internally to the goat was a clear ballistic pathway.
No.
But there was no entry and exit wound like with a bullet. It was like sent energy right through the goat, and there was ballistic pathway through the internal organs of the goat. Channeled that much energy.
What?
It took it about 8 hours, and then it died.
Whoa. My assumption was it was like an electric shock or something, or like, just a shock that went through the whole body, but like a focused, like a, dude, he's special beam cannon that goat.
Literally.
He's special beam cannon the goat.
And then he told me, he was like,
what the fuck?
Dude, they were trying to utilize that for battle capabilities, like special forces type stuff.
They have a bunch of
This is why they were studying, they were trying to use this shit in battle.
It's wild because it seems like it takes a long time.
Right.
It's not like
not
it's practical. But I'm assuming this is the same stuff that you see where like the guys on the internet, or like you've seen all these videos of these guys that'll hold paper in their hands and it'll just set on fire.
Yeah.
It's got to be
there's a guy.
That's what that is, right? It's the same thing.
We got to find that guy right now. There's a famous, I think his name is like Johnny Chang or something. He's like a Taoist. I don't know if he's a monk, but he's like a hardcore practitioner from Tibet or China. He's not well known in the West. Let's just put it that way. He's like he's not American. He's like, I can't remember the country he's from, but he's like some Western researchers like went to his monastery to like film him, to study him. And he didn't know that they were going to publish the video, but he like combusted a piece of paper with his hand, and then he was never seen online again.
Oh, maybe. I feel like I've seen.
I think his name is Johnny Chang.
I feel like I've seen a video of that happening. But I mean, that's so unbelievable. Like, that's on the nose. You're channeling energy.
John Chang.
John Chang. Yep.
John Chang. He's a Qigong master.
So this is a documentary.
Same thing as the Dim Mak. It's like YouTube videos that people publish.
But that's exactly what I was talking about. Like the videos of the people that they can just channel energy and it affects their surroundings. Like, that's indistinguishable from magic. That's the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
Taking the energy that you're born with and this like human body that we're made to believe is this just like fleshy meat, like no substance, no spirit, none of that. That's just not right. Like, it's not true. We're much more than that. Things like this, dude, that proves it. Like, when you manifest things outside of your body with your internal energy, that's magic. You're lighting stuff on fire in your hand, dude.
Yeah.
That's magic.
He was like basically never seen on the internet again. I don't think he like could, realized that they were gonna put it out there. It's like secret.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't show this to people. I'm showing you, like.
Right.
But, and then there was something else I wanted to talk about. We don't have to go into great detail. This was something that was brought to my attention by a mutual friend of ours, meaning like the Bledsoe family and some officials from the CIA. He's a guy who's it's not anybody who like wants his identity out there. But anyway, he put me onto this concept called Orgone energy.
Oh, yeah.
Like these.
Yeah.
Like Orgone. Like, this is why I buy these.
Yeah. Give a brief description of what that is.
So the guy that discovered, there is
oh, yeah.
Let me see that. I'd like to shout that out.
Oh, my God.
This was actually made personally for us. You can see this is an orgonite piece by a new friend of mine. His name is Isaac Lazell, and he has
Shout out
Isaac Lazell. I might as well go ahead and shout out his company too. He makes these.
Could you see that on the camera?
Orgonite, yeah, it came up.
What's it called, Alex?
I think it's Oregon, like the state. .ite.
Yep, you're right. Yep, because he's from Oregon, so it's like Oregon.
That's cool.
Ite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's this. He's just a really nice kid, and I want to get him on the show. He's really knowledgeable in this stuff, and he made this custom orgonite device for us. He put like actual wood in here, and then it has resin, which is like an inorganic material, and then it has like the metal shavings, did I say inorganic? I meant the resin is the organic, and then the metal shavings is like the inorganic. Okay, so in the 1950s, Sigmund Freud was like the king of psychology back then. He was, even though he was weird, he was like kind of like renowned.
Oh yeah, at the time, yeah.
Right. And a lot of the psychological stuff that people talk about today is still stuff from Freud. But he had a very like perverse kind of side to him. I mean,
sure.
Sigmund Freud was the kind of guy where he'd be like sleeping with his patients to like sexual healing, like it's unethical for sure.
Yeah.
And so he had this friend named Wilhelm Reich, which I think he was a German. I'm not exactly sure if he was from Germany or if he was.
Sounds like the most German name
it could have been
you
Austrian,
could possibly have come up with.
Could have been Vienna. I don't know where he was from, but he wasn't from America. And he came to America in the 50s, and he was like kind of like a follower of Freud's work. So like, again, it's like we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like the data that he discovered is real. It doesn't mean we have to agree with everything about this guy. And he had this kind of philosophy, which I actually do find this particular part to be true. Let me just read it because I can't articulate it as well. So it's like...
Did you say the guy's name was
Wilhelm Reich?
Wilhelm Reich.
So Wilhelm Reich's discovery of orgone, I'm just going to read what I wrote. Wilhelm Reich's discovery of orgone began with his research of a physical bioenergy basis for Sigmund Freud's theories of neurosis in humans. Wilhelm Reich believed that traumatic experiences blocked the natural flow of life energy in the body, leading to physical and mental disease. Here's the part where it gets Freudian, and like a lot of people are like, he's a sex quack, and like that may be true, but the data can be true too.
Yeah.
Wilhelm Reich concluded that the libidinal energy that Freud discussed was actually the primordial energy of life itself. So like our spiritual soul force is intrinsically tied to our libido, or so to speak, our sexual energy. And like that might sound taboo to people, but that's the reality of Tantra and Kundalini.
And it also makes sense. I mean, if you're here, you have an opportunity to pass on a part of your consciousness into another living being.
It's a God force.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
It makes sense that those two concepts
it's a special energy.
Yeah.
And that's why, it's so sacred itself. But they believed it was connected to more than just sexuality as we understand it. Orgone was everywhere. He actually literally proved this energy was real. He measured it. He created these elaborate devices.
So orgone isn't a mineral. It isn't like the mineral.
An energy.
It's a specific energy. Okay.
Right. I think this is, again, where it gets a little weird. We're talking the 1950s here too, so it's a culture that might not have been as open to his ideas. I think he derived the term orgone from the word orgasm somehow. Like the sense that, it's not wrong. Like,
right, that's what I'm saying. If it's related, like if those two types of energy are the same or they're related in some way, then who cares? It's a word.
That's not how everybody is, unfortunately.
Right.
People are like, oh, but the reality is like there is a sexual force inside of every living human being, and we don't have to get too deep into this, but
completely natural.
But then there's also like people who are I don't want to. Never mind. It's a different conversation.
Okay.
Anyway, so orgone was everywhere, and Reich measured this energy in motion over the surface of the Earth. He had a whole theory that the reason the sky was blue and everything is because it was enriched with orgone.
Oh shit.
Wilhelm Reich in 1940, he constructed the first device to accumulate orgone energy. It was a 6-sided box constructed of alternating layers of organic materials to radiate the energy. To attract the energy, and then the metallic materials or the inorganic materials to radiate the energy toward the center of the box. So it's like the so to speak, the resin pulls the energy in, and then the metal is supposed to also pulse the energy out. But the belief was also that orgone cleansed auric energy. When we think of orgone, this is literally indistinguishable from chi, ki,
gotcha,
prana, ruach. It's just this dude in the 1940s. He had his own word for it.
Got you.
But he measured it,
Yeah.
And he measured it so much. I mean, I even have I have I have a study here, an abstract, where people now in modern times have like even proven that it is real and measurable. We can go into that if you want.
Yeah, that
But
kind of
essentially, the end of Wilhelm Reich's story was like his stuff became so controversial in the 50s. He was healing people of diseases with it. He literally got like shut down by the government and thrown in prison, and he died of a heart attack. And they seized all of his devices.
The heart attack gun.
Probably.
The heart attack gun. Like, explain that. Why? Why is this guy doing these amazing, miraculous things and helping and healing people, and why does he get shut down by the government? You know? Like,
Yep.
Because they can't make money off it, Nick.
So they kill him? Like,
Yes.
they throw him in jail? Like,
He even at some point would develop these devices that could like kind of like transmit orgone, and he would like cloud bust with them, like project the orgone into the sky and would like.
is that
disperse
where
the clouds.
cloud bursting
Bro.
comes from?
I mean, the cloud bursting comes from the Men Who Stare at Goats people,
Right.
John Alexander and all
Was
them.
that just a thing where they focused their thoughts?
Right,
Okay,
like
gotcha.
psychically.
I've,
No, he was
I've
like,
done it.
You
It's-
have?
Yes. I saw a video of two guys sitting on their porch doing it. And I'm like, that's crazy. So I got up, walked outside, picked a cloud, and just was like, I'm going to break that cloud in half. And just focused everything I had in a relaxed way. When I tried harder, it would be slower. But in a relaxed way, focused everything I had on this cloud, and it just broke in half.
What did you perceive that as? Like, how did you like reflect on what that meant, or
I am a god being.
yeah, like,
So I went and got my lightsaber. No, I'm kidding.
like what really, like,
No.
you didn't reflect
I
on
was
it.
just like, damn, that's cool.
Yeah, it works.
So that's
Eureka!
that's I'm trying to think, like, if I did that, would I be thinking like, oh, I just sent a signal of energy at that thing and it dispersed, or like, how do
You want to get real weird?
yes?
Can I get real weird?
You can get
Sure.
real weird.
I'm on the edge when it comes to space.
On the edge. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
I'm just like, I don't know where I land.
Oh,
with the
okay.
idea of space.
Okay.
Mars or Jupiter.
So,
or,
yeah,
like,
that's-
which one?
I didn't mean-
where are you going to land?
I didn't mean the pun there, but I'm thinking like, wow, like, are we really just surrounded by energy that's completely malleable? I mean, like, because then that goes hand in hand with manifestation. Like, everything is malleable to a degree because you are in charge of everything going on to a
Mhm,
degree.
mhm.
Like, you're in charge of yourself, and we are much more powerful than we're led to believe.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I'm born here under the same sky you're born under. It's my sky just as much as it's your sky. So, is it that crazy that I can reach out there and like whittle those clouds apart?
I mean,
Nah.
to like the uninitiated, it sounds like it's so bizarre. It sounds like complete bullshit. But
I did it
next.
twice.
You're going to talk about auras and vibes, man.
yeah, but it's like, yeah,
Well,
when-
I did it once and I'm like, that could have just been a
yeah.
thing. So I did it again.
Well,
and
when
I'm
you
like,
think about
oh.
the fact that everything in the perceivable universe is made out of the same stuff, basically, is it that weird?
No.
No, it just looks different than
Go
you.
try
It's- yeah, I do want to try it.
Try it.
I'll report back.
So this is the last bit of notes that I have here.
Okay.
So this was an abstract by Dr. PhD, I guess, Dr. James DeMayo. Experimental confirmation of the Reich orgone accumulator thermal anomaly. I'm not exactly sure when this experiment was done, but it was in modern times. Experimental investigations were undertaken by the author of the thermal anomaly inside the orgone energy accumulator. Back in Reich's day, he didn't have little, orgone pyramids. He created a box that you would sit in, and you would be surrounded by the energy.
Whoa.
As opposed to this, like, kind of just like radiating it in your house.
Yeah.
A phenomenon firstly observed by the late Dr. Wilhelm Reich, who invented the orgone accumulator device. This thermal anomaly, by the theory of Reich, is produced from the rarefied, motional, pulsating orgone energy continuum, which is concentrated inside the device. It's using the acronym, the ORAC, producing a frictional thermal heating of the air. Discussion is given on the experimental proof standing behind Reich's theory and claims, drawing attention to similar concepts in the modern sciences. The orgone energy is similar in many respects to the older luminiferous cosmic ether, and that it fills all space but also fulfills the role of an atmospheric biological life energy, and that it is pulsatory and excitable and charges living tissues. In the experiment, air temperature was measured inside the upper part of a 10-centimeter cubical device, or orgon device.
10 centimeter?
10 centimeter cubical device, and contrasted to the temperature within a thermally balanced but non-orgon accumulating control enclosure following the protocols of Reich. Exceptional care was taken into the construction of the apparatus and in control procedures, with instrumentation calibrated down to give or take 0.002 degrees Celsius. The experiment was undertaken in a well-ventilated but fully dark-shaded outdoor thermal shelter specially constructed for the evaluations. Under the optimal conditions for the ORAC functioning devices, i.e. low humidity, light or no winds, clear skies, etc., a cyclical positive thermal anomaly was systematically detected with an average of plus 0.13 degrees Celsius differential in 2 10-day experimental runs presented here, with maxima peaking daily around 0.5 degrees Celsius plus, warmer than the control, and minima at around negative 0.1 degrees Celsius. The experiments confirmed Reich's claims of a slight spontaneous heating effect inside the ORAC device, which has no known energy source by classical empty space determinations. So, like,
whoa,
it's real.
That's groundbreaking. How have I not heard about that? Like, you know what I mean? They're measuring perceivable energy changes.
They literally said it's like the primordial. Oh no, wrong one. They literally said it's like the older luminiferous cosmic ether concepts.
And he was just kind of talking about that too. Like that is I can't. When was that study done?
I can look it up real quick.
I mean, you don't have to.
Easy. I'll just Google the study.
I'm just wondering, like, how have I never heard about that? You know, that's groundbreaking. I mean, sure, you might be thinking like, oh, those are fractions of a percentage of whatever, but it's real. It's proof. It's tangible evidence. Like, this ain't coming out of nowhere, y'all.
No, it's real.
No, it's real.
I don't see the year on this, but this is just the PDF of it. Simon Fraser University.
What was the study called?
Experimental confirmation of the Reich Orgon accumulator thermal anomaly. You know, and then people... 2009. 2009.
Scrolls up the tongue.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
It's 2009. Now, people are going to say, oh, well, he's not a credible scientist. Dude, there's a guy out there who's literally just finding the data. Believe it or not. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Like, it's real.
It's real. The data's real.
There's data.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, about...
It's measurable.
You know what I'm saying? And the last thing I truly wanted to read is there was a MD, PhD named Dr. David R. Hawkins. He wrote a book called Power versus Force, in which he discusses energy, frequency, and vibration in depth, like modeled after Tesla's theory.
Yeah.
In his book, Hawkins explains that there's a scale of human consciousness ranging from 0 to 100. He says the universe is energy, vibrational energy. All energy vibrates. All matter is energy that has been slowed down enough so that we can see and touch it. The law of attraction is not a new phenomenon. The law has been around for centuries. It was first ever documented when in the Bible Jesus said, "Ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened." Matthew 7:7. So
yeah, and that's the whole energy slowing down enough to create the illusion of mass. Like that literally sounds like Platonic, like cave theory, like this realm that we live in is an illusion. Like it literally is called the illusion of matter. Energy slowing down enough to
we are crystallized light.
Damn.
Like literally crystallized. Like we have formed a solid material structure.
You just said it so like
it's just true, man.
You spit it like a fact.
It's true.
That's
we're just finding all the data points to corroborate
crystallized light.
The big truth,
crystallized light. We are.
What a fun first Spirit Science
episode!
Nice.
That was super fun. So Ryan, what's the moral of the story?
Which story?
Energy.
Oh, dude. I mean, like it's totally real. Like who could say energy is not real?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like. Like it's there.
Yeah,
it's there.
The truly profound thing is The fact that energy we can observe energy coming from our bodies, from outside our bodies with intention. Like, you can intentionally send energy from your body. You can intentionally make things manifest. Stop it, Alex. Stop sending energy at me. Jeez, bro.
He was going.
Yeah. But like the fact that you can actually, dude, special beam cannon to go.
Literally.
What else do we need to freaking say here?
Literally.
Hello? Piccolo?
So, I'm really happy that we're going to be doing this segment, and if because of the birth of this segment, I think we're finally ready to tackle a crystal episode in the coming months. Something for 2 years we've been talking about.
Yeah.
I think we've got our chops underway and we're ready.
It's time.
And no rush, but I particularly would be really, really personally very interested in also doing another segment like this, but more focused on specific wisdom traditions. So, that might be something in the future we do as well.
I'm all in. I think that's a fantastic idea. Thanks, everybody, for joining us for our first Spirit Science. Hope you enjoyed it. The next one is going to be about frequency. We're going to do energy, frequency, and vibration, just like Nikola Tesla talked about.
And then do, many other, like Masaru Emoto, Vogel. There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of sciencey stuff we want to talk about. We got to do one about like celestial bodies. Like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Anyway, we could geek out forever. Y'all know what it is.
BledsoeSenso.com.
All right, 3, 2, 1. I just flicked off the camera. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
I swear to God, that was an accident.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week.
Peace.